This video is basically my entire spring bucket list consolidated. We started off by going to Dewberry Farm, and it was literally just the most magical day ever. The weather was perfect, the place was perfect. It was also a wedding venue, so you'll see in a little bit. They had this gorgeous barn and pews, and I just loved every second. And as if the farm wasn't pretty enough, they also had photo props scattered all throughout the property. This beautiful fairy swing, I loved that. We ended up spending hours here, exploring the grounds, walking around, just taking everything in. It was so beautiful. This was the barn I was talking about. It looks like something straight out of a Hallmark movie. Everything was so well kept. I can't even imagine how much work must go into this place, but I was very appreciative for it. I always tell people my dream is to live on a farm, and this is exactly what I have pictured in my head when I dream of that farm. It's what I picture when I read books like Jane Austen and Beatrix Potter or The Secret Garden. It truly felt like walking into a storybook with all the vines and arches and plants everywhere. To help paint you a picture, I'll read an excerpt from The Secret Garden. "I shall come back this afternoon," she said, looking all around her at her new kingdom and speaking to the trees and the rose bushes as if they heard her. Then she ran lightly across the grass, pushed open the slow old door, and slipped through it under the ivy. Seeing all the animals was definitely a highlight of this adventure. We came to see the tulips and pick them, and we didn't even know any of this was here. This donkey was so precious and such a floofball. I loved him. We stumbled upon this pretty little hedge maze, and then it was time to go to do what we came for, pick some tulips. Tulips are my favorite flower, and my mom was so kind to take me to see them all. We probably looked at everyone in the entire field, finding the perfect ones to bring home. As you can see here, there were tons of rows of different brightly colored tulips, and they even provided these cute little wicker baskets that we could set them in. I had no idea there were this many different colors and varieties of tulips. This here was called a double tulip. It looked like a mix between a tulip and a peony. I loved all the different striped ones, and they also had these funky looking fringy ones on top, which were very interesting. We ended up taking a whole basket home with us, and once we were home, we arranged them in different vases and scattered them throughout the house. When I saw this swing, I was like, we need to recreate the scene from Pride and Prejudice, and I think we did a pretty good job.
I'm dizzy.
We were pretty close to Winston-Salem, so we took a little excursion there because we'd always wanted to see old Winston-Salem. It was such a cozy little town. My grandma's favorite book is this Moravian Christmas story called Bookends, and the main girl is from here, so we wanted to come and see the Moravian history. I honestly was not expecting it to be so cute. We loved all the old buildings and architecture and want to come back when everything's open and bustling. It has that same special old feel like Savannah has. I have a flower bucket list of sorts. I want to see as many as I possibly can, and that included going to a botanical garden. This one is part of NC State. It's 10 acres and has over 8,000 different varieties of plants. And something that I thought was fun is that it's actually divided into different gardens. So for example, there's a Japanese garden, a butterfly garden, a white garden, a rose garden, lots of different gardens. This was adorable. They had a bee hotel that they call the Airbnb, which is so clever. I hardly got any clips here, but the white garden was inspired by the white garden at Sissinghurst Castle in Kent, England. If you can't tell by the name, it has only white flowers. I would highly recommend looking up the different nature activities to do in your area, whether that be gardens or hiking or whatever. Once you start looking into it, a whole new world is opened up. And then just like in the Garden of Eden, we found a snake, which was very scary and made us paranoid, so we left pretty soon afterwards. And the last floral clips I have for you today are from the garden center. I love visiting here in the spring, and I actually ended up picking up a huge bag of wildflower seeds, so this year I am starting my own wildflower garden, which I am so looking forward to. I absolutely love having my own garden each year. This year I have some seeds sprouting already and I've transplanted some outside. It's so amazing to watch it go from a seed to food that we can actually eat. It just reminds me of how awesome and intricate God's design is. Spring is always such a hopeful time of the year after getting through a cold winter and watching the world thaw out. When the sun shines brighter and the air smells fresh and the flowers are blooming, and opening the windows in the morning to the sound of the birds chirping. I love to celebrate it in all of its cottagecore glory, prancing around in flowy light dresses, having tea parties and picnics in the park. It's simply the loveliest time of the year.